How's it going? I'm very funny. Oh my God, I was like 5 years old. This is me, except for I'm this big, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, I did physical comedy when I was a kid. It was 100% my thing. Like, I learned you can throw yourself, like, do the arm gag where you throw your arm and then you flip. That was my deal.
Wow.
Yeah, I was doing stuff like that.
Yeah, but you were like a little martial arts, like karate kid when you were a little kid.
Yeah, in fact, yeah, I just got a great photo I'm gonna have to put online of myself and my gi that my aunt just found. Real nice, real nice.
Want it?
Killer.
Can I get it framed in my house?
100%.
What belt was on the gi?
Oh, it's a white belt.
Ooh,
because you know.
That's better than black, right? That's like all the way above.
That's
Yeah.
the
You've transcended.
You continue to take this class and not get better. To be fair, I think they held me back so that I could win more tournaments.
There it
I'm
is.
sure you could win. So, but they thought you were gonna murder everybody because you just had that look.
I went to my parents' house and they had like all of our kids' trophies still, you know, and I'm just like,
no,
all right.
Bless their little hearts.
Yeah, I'm just like, I appreciate it. I don't need them. If you don't need them, feel free to get rid of them. Especially the Kung Fu one that I won by default after a kid kicked me in the crotch and disqualified himself. Like, you can get rid of that trophy. I don't need that reminder of my life.
There's a memory you want.
Yeah, I wore a cup. Thank goodness.
Oh, thank goodness.
Could I get that and the picture together in a wall situation?
Here's the great thing.
I would hang it
somewhere on a VHS tape is that.
Oh.
Because that's how my parents played it back to the refs to prove. So somewhere I have a video of me being kicked in the crotch and then also winning that trophy and have that trophy somewhere still in their house. It's great.
Does No Shame Theater still exist? Because if it does, this story with props needs to be told.
Remember it. Yeah.
You could watch it and then you'll remember.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, so I'm setting the scene. Where are you in this world?
This is how I was Rammstein. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
How old
Germany.
are you? 8?
Oh, I don't even know. Second, third grade, so yeah, something. 8. Yeah. But, man, our Kung Fu, whatever he's called,
Sensei?
Yeah, I don't remember the Kung Fu. It's probably that.
Probably something different in German, though.
He was a ladies' man. He was outstanding. In one tournament, he was like, yeah, parents, we'll totally take these kids and bring them back safely. We got the tournament off base somewhere else in Germany. And then he was like, hey, kids, I got this thing I got to do. But my main squeeze is going to take you back. So she drives us back to the base.
But my main squeeze.
Yeah. And so she drops us off at, I don't know where. Like, 2 kids, my older brother and myself, in geese, right? It just drops us off. She's like, your parents are going to be here soon, right? Because I've got a thing I've got to get to. And just fucking left us.
Oh, wow.
It was so good. So good.
Wow.
And, you know, when you're a kid, you have that thought of like, oh, this is it. I'm going to have to start, going into the forest, finding berries and surviving.
Yeah, I had a bindle ready.
Abandoned.
Yeah,
you were bindle ready. That's a good term. Bindle ready.
Yeah.
You were. Oh, good. What are those guys called? Those
hobo?
No, the survivalists now. They've got the survive. Think of like the survivalists. They've got that pack. I can't remember what it's called.
The to-go kit.
Yeah, it's just
right?
like and they've got like
to-go kit.
And you had a separate bike somewhere in the woods, so you could go get that bike just in case. Just like they've got a car somewhere in that woods.
Well, the only reason why I was ready to move away with my bindle was because I realized it was an option to not live with my parents when we met the not me.
Same
really.
reaction. What? How was it
not me as a child. I just meant like as a child, all of a sudden I was aware that the world happened. You know what I mean? Like it was like, oh, when I get older, I don't continue to live with my parents, and this is the home I live in for the rest of my life. Like. It occurred to me because there was a guy who lived in the woods on my street. So I lived in the suburbs, but there was a little section between 2 towns that I lived right on the edge of one town. And so the space between one town and the other just had this big section of woods. And this man lived in the section of woods. And I met him because he went to church every Sunday and he went to the grocery store. So we saw him, and one day we literally saw him biking up into the little area of the woods and as we were coming from the grocery store, we had seen him, and then we saw him bike into the woods, and I go, Mom, what is he doing? And she goes, I'm gonna be honest, I think he lives in the woods. And I was like, you can live in the woods? And she's like, well, I mean, I wouldn't suggest it, but he wants to. Also, I'm from Boston. Like, it's snowy a lot of the time, right?
Yeah,
like, hard. You live in the woods, maybe in Austin, like, it's going to be warm. You're going to deal with the heat more than you're going to deal with the cold. But this guy was, like, living in a tent next to, like, 3 feet of snow. So, like, I don't know how he did it.
Yeah.
But it was just kind of his, like, he was that kind of guy. He was into nature. His family, he didn't have, like, a lot of family that he wanted to, like, live, like, he didn't have a wife or kids or whatever. And he was just like, I just like living on the land. And and the neighborhood was fine with it. Like, because I asked the neighbors. Once I found out, I was like, wait, this can't be. That's not a thing.
Was his last name Thoreau?
And
were you near Walden Pond? I'm just checking. I'm just fact-checking the story here. Okay, all right.
I'm way older than I look, guys.
That's what I was going to say.
Thoreau
was it the
was
ghost?
written about my neighbor.
Yeah, there you go.
He's a real nice guy.
He was a ghost the entire time. That's the end of your story.
He was a ghost the entire time. And that's when I realized you could live as a ghost somewhere. As a child, I always wanted to be a ghost.
If I could figure out how to live as a ghost, I would do it 100%. Whatever that is, I'm doing it.
Living as a ghost.
Yeah. I don't think I'd get a lot of hugs as a ghost. I'm just putting that out there. I think that would limit my huggability.
No, absolutely. It's a no-hug zone there in the ghost town.
When they're running away screaming, it's going to limit how many hugs.
Even if they're not. Even if you're like, Casper. He's real friendly.
He is friendly.
You want to hug him, but you can't.
Yeah, ectoplasm.
Nothing going to happen. Nothing going to happen.
I was born in Providence, by the way.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, not far from there, Boston.
Yeah, well, it's funny because I was talking to somebody today about how I'm so used to living in Texas that taking a 2-hour drive is like, nothing.
Yeah.
Like, nothing at all. But, like, when I was growing up, you got from my house to Providence in 45 minutes, and we were like, whoa, that's crazy far away, man. You're going to go to another city? To Providence? That's forever away. And it's like, when I got married in Houston, I told my whole family that came up to visit, like, you're coming to a city that's the size of the state that you are coming from. 2-hour drive from one end to the other end of Massachusetts, 2-hour drive from one end to the other of Houston. And I think more people in Houston. So I was like, dense. But a lot of open space. I was like, Sammy, I don't know what to tell you. So yeah, I mean, it's living up north, growing up was really unusual. But yeah, as far as the neighbor who lived in the woods, like, I just really thought, I don't know, I think about him all the time because it's like he really, like, opened my mind to, like, there are other ways of living. Mm-hmm. You don't just have to be a person in a house who does this. Like, I don't even know how he made money. No idea. But everybody respected him. Like, clearly my neighbors were very nice, and the area where I lived must have been very just liberal and open because he didn't look bad or anything like that, but he certainly sort of had a mountain manish vibe to him. He didn't really shave that often, and he wasn't mountain manish like you, but he kind of had a rugged, I live on the streets kind of look to him. You know what I mean? Because he lived
in the woods.
In the woods, on my street. Yeah, on my street. It was funny, too, because it almost seemed as if he had a lot. Because the way that the street was, as you drove down the street, was house, and then there was this open area of grass, and then another house. And you got to where he lived by walking into the woods in the open area of grass. And I wanted to be like, do you own this all? And you just didn't build a house on it. You just decided to live at the very far end of the property, as close as you could to the other city, but, like, still. And I didn't talk to him about it. I was a child. He was
right. And, you're not gonna go.
He was an older man
to talk to
a stranger in the woods.
Yeah, no. I mean, I saw him, and
unless he's got candy or a puppy or something.
Later went no, don't go in the woods with a puppy. No, and don't go in other people's vans.
I also like the idea
my van,
that
your van, okay.
He's a continuous supply of puppies to lure children with. Where are you getting all these puppies?
It's just wild dogs of, like, Massachusetts.
Those would be very smart dogs, though, don't you think? They'd be a little smarter than the average dog. A little
they'd
more
be angrier,
cultured.
for
They
sure.
would be angrier. It's true.
They'd all have Harvard degrees. That doesn't necessarily mean anything. I mean, I may or may not be bitter because I didn't get into Harvard. Okay, it's not about me, Paul.
Sorry.
Listen.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's fine. It doesn't matter. It's not really sad.
I was smart enough to not apply.
All right, whatever.
You never get rejected if you don't apply, Amy.
Yeah, I hear that.
That's Homer Simpson's motto right there. I think that show's still on the air, by the way. I don't know if you guys knew that.
No, my brother was watching
Still
it
on the air.
yesterday. I was very surprised.
It's
Yeah.
still on the air.
Animation's better than ever, though. You'd think it'd go the other way. It's real weird.
It's one of those shows where the cast isn't crying and trying to get off the show, though, so it's okay. They don't have to. They don't have to look like anything. I was talking to somebody about the guys on Supernatural that have been on for 18 seasons or something, and those guys have to be super handsome because that's what they're playing. That's their characters, and it's like, I'm sorry, guys. Someday you'll get a radio show, Like someday you can just sit in your house and grow your beards out and relax. Because they actually both live in Austin in their off time. And it's like, I'm sorry that you come here every summer and see us all having quiet fun. And then you're like,
I
do
just
we have
gotta
to
lift
go
these
back?
weights now. Yeah.
Hey, you want some barbecue? Nah, I can't eat. I have to be shirtless for half of next season. Why? I don't know. I think I'm a demon. I don't know.
I gotta sandblast my face real quick to get rid of these blackheads.
They keep telling me that somehow I think my character got younger. I don't know how that worked. I'm super ripped now, but literally it's just because it's in the contract. Oof, God. Yeah, it's just those kinds of things. You end up doing the gig for way too long. But Simpsons. They're like this. They're behind a mic. It doesn't matter.
But how did the writers keep track of it all? Like, there's got to be that one
database. I don't know. Yeah,
like there's got to be that one person who just sits in the corner and whenever they throw out an idea, they just go, "We did it, season 12." like, oh, all right. Like,
that's what they make.
That's that person's job. They just
that's
yell
who
at
comic book guy is in real life.
Yeah.
He just sits in the corner. Excuse me, and they're like, "Oh, great, what?" They're like, "Actually, that was season 1 when it was on the Tracy Ullman show." Oh, okay, sorry. Oh, can't do that. Even no one ever saw that one, but it doesn't matter. Oh, it's so sad.
Oh.
I love that show. It's on now. It's on available on HBO now as well. So that you can watch those old things. And I was like, ooh, fun.
I would like to go back and see if Santa's Little Helper 1 was in the original Tracy Ullman show. I'm just curious. It's a curiosity.
I don't know.
It's just a thought.
I can't remember.
I don't just wonder.
I think for them it was a lot of running scenes like in Flintstones where the background just stays the same or
it's a loop of
the background. It's a loop of the same background and they're just running a lot. Because the animation's really not great. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's really hard. It's almost it's almost like Dr. Katz. You guys ever see Dr. Katz?
Yeah.
That's coming back as a podcast, BT Dubs.
I remember going back and trying to watch it and it was funny, but I just couldn't take the animation style
it's
when
hard,
I was young.
Yeah,
because it's just a real scribble.
Dr. Katz is a show about a therapist, and all of his patients are comedians. So the show is essentially this therapist guy, and the comedians just do their bits.
Who was the primary character who played Dr. Katz? Maybe I do know the show.
I think his name is Jonathan Katz.
Okay,
I think that's his actual name. And they do that show, and it's the squiggly kind of animation where everything's constantly moving a little bit, so it's a little unnerving. My husband loves it, watches it constantly. We have it at home, and I'm always like, can we just? Is there any way that I could just? It's so hard, and in it. H. John Benjamin, who's in everything, plays his son in it, and I heard just the other day on the radio. / probably a podcast, let's be honest, that they're bringing back the show as a podcast. So the doctor is going to revisit with current stand-up comedians, and they'll sort of, the interstitial music will just go in between the little 10-minute chats that they'll have between him and the comedians. And the comedians just, like I said, they just do their neurotic bits. They're like, I just really think, and you can tell by the format of the way they're talking that they're telling a joke. And Dr. Cassie, she's like, that's interesting. Yes, okay. It's really great, actually.
Well, now I'm going to check it out. I have to check out Dr. Katz.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's
I mean,
required.
and it's also like, it's kind of comedy history